A pseudoscience and a subculture. Cryptozoology is the search for and study of unknown, legendary, or extinct animals whose present existence is disputed or unsubstantiated, particularly those animals that are popular in folklore, such as Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, the Chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, or the Mokele Mbembe. Cryptids are what cryptozoologists call the entities they study, which is a name that was created by the subculture. Mainstream science considers cryptozoology to be a form of pseudoscience due to the fact that it does not adhere to the procedures of the scientific method. Cryptozoology is not a subfield of either zoology or folklore studies. In the 1950s, zoologists Bernard Heuvelmans and Ivan T. Sanderson were the first people to establish the organization. Before we move any further, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more information. Researchers have observed that the subculture has, from an early date, rejected mainstream techniques, and that members frequently show animosity towards mainstream science. Researchers have examined cryptozoologists and the influence they have had, including the connection between cryptozoology and young Earth creationism, noted parallels between cryptozoology and other pseudosciences such as ghost hunting and ufology, and brought attention to the uncritical media propagation of cryptozoologist claims. Study of the unknown, mythical, or extinct animals whose existence or survival to the current day is contested or unverified. That is the definition of the field of study known as cryptozoology. Although it did not become a recognized academic discipline until 1955, the study of cryptozoology dates back to the 15th century BC. The majority of people have a fundamental misunderstanding of what cryptozoology is and where it got its start. As a result, there is a substantial amount of disinformation around the discipline. The field of cryptozoology is not one in which individuals go around seeking to capture vampires and werewolves. Rather, it is one in which scientists evaluate both folklore and biological data in order to gain a better understanding of the phenomena that occur in our world. It is critical that we are familiar with our past, whether it be our personal history, our cultural history, or the history of our world. When it comes to cryptozoology, having knowledge of its past is the most effective method for explaining its purpose. There are a number of occurrences that occurred over the course of thousands of years that were important in the development of the field of cryptozoology. We'll get started with the 15th century BC because that's when everything got started. Queen Hatshepsut, an Egyptian queen who ruled Egypt in the 15th century BC, was the country's pharaoh at the time. Although the Red Sea was totally unexplored, it did serve as a passageway to Punt, which refers to the uncharted parts of Central Africa and was essential for commercial activity. During her tenure as pharaoh, ships would sail across the Red Sea, and when they returned, they would bring back animals that the Egyptians had never seen before. The long-necked dragon, also known as a giraffe, parrots, and the African unicorn, also known as the okapi, were some of the animals that were listed in this list. All of these species give some of the oldest examples of how certain ancient cultures were unaware of the existence of animals that are commonplace in our times. The epic poem known as the Ramayana was penned in Sanskrit sometime between the 2nd and 4th centuries B.C. by the poet Valmiki. The Vanaras are a group of monkey-like humanoids with human intelligence that appear in the Ramayana. They are a character in the story. The Vanaras are mentioned in a number of the epics written in Sanskrit that originate from Southeast Asia. There is a school of thought among certain Indians that the Vanaras are actually the Asian Bigfoots. There are numerous interpretations of these stories in a variety of Asian countries, including Indonesia, Thailand, Burma, Cambodia, Laos, China, and the Philippines, to name just a few of those countries. The Roman author, naturalist, and natural philosopher Pliny the Elder is credited with writing the Naturalis Historia in the year AD 77. When Pliny returned to Rome from his travels through East Africa and India, he told people that he had seen giant grasshoppers, cynocephalus, man-cats, leopards, killing flies, tsetse flies, fire-breathing basilisks, and a variety of other insects that were unheard of at the time in Rome. Pliny also saw a number of other insects that were previously unknown. This is one of the earliest examples of cryptozoology, as well as someone thinking beyond what was understood to be true in the scientific community during their time period. The discipline of modern zoology can trace its origins back to Conrad Gessner, a Swiss naturalist and biographer. Between the years 1551 and 1558, he penned the five-volume work Historiae Animalium, which is often regarded as the first work of modern zoology. Not only was it the first bibliography of natural written history, but it was also the first to describe all of the animals that were known during a particular time period. The 5 books have a combined total of more than 500 pages and cover a variety of cryptids, including prehistoric fossils, unicorns, hellcats, sea monsters, sky serpents, dragons, mermaids, and the kraken. A zoomed in and up close portrait of the face of a giraffe looking directly into the camera, with a piece of the animal's neck visible in the background. In the year 1811, David Thompson, who has been called the best land geographer that ever lived, was the first person to scientifically document a Sasquatch and the creature's footsteps. While he was busy mapping regions of Canada and the United States, he developed strong relationships with members of the Spokane tribe in the state of Washington. The Spokane tribe reported that there was a mountain range to the west of their territory that was home to giants. As the people were sleeping, these giants would sneak down and steal salmon as well as people. It is generally accepted that the Cascade Range was the range of mountains to which they were referring. Despite the fact that Anthonie Cornelis Oudemans was an expert in the field of arcalogy, which is the study of mites and ticks, he is primarily remembered for his research on sea monsters and even the dodo bird. His 1892 research on the great sea serpent is widely considered to be his most influential work. He is regarded as the intellectual pioneer who established the discipline of cryptozoology. The term cryptozoology was first coined by a Belgian, French scientist, explorer, and author by the name of Bernard Heuvelmans in the year 1995. It is generally agreed that he, together with the Scottish, American biologist Ivan T. Sanderson, is one of the founding figures in the field of cryptozoology. Both Mr. Heuvelmans and Mr. Sanderson stated that cryptozoology should be conducted with the rigor and discipline of science, but also with an open mind and a methodology that draws from other disciplines. They were of the opinion that local, urban, folkloric materials should be given more consideration in relation to cryptids. Although these materials may have a number of fantastical and unreal components, a good number of them are based on reality and can assist individuals in learning more about species that have not yet been discovered. The field of study known as cryptozoology is one that dates back thousands of years and has only continued to expand since its inception. The study of cryptozoology encompasses every myth, fable, and folktale that you are familiar with that describes monsters that are beyond our wildest conceptions. Even though the field has been called a pseudoscience on occasion, it is essential to keep in mind that many of the animals that are now recognized as species were originally thought to be cryptids. Considering that we are aware that these animals are real, it may be challenging for us to digest this information. Put yourself in the position of the Egyptians, Pliny the Elder, or David Thompson and try to imagine how you would react if you saw a baboon but had no idea what it was. How would you feel? I can imagine that you would be filled with awe and terror all at the same time as you ran away yelling monster. It's amazing how quickly we humans can deny the reality of things that make us feel uncomfortable. Just look at how frightened we are of things like Bigfoot, chupacabras, and the Jersey Devil. We would rather dismiss them as figments of our imagination than admit that there is a great deal that we do not know or comprehend. People like myself will always exist, and we will never stop questioning things that we can't explain. In the distant future, many years from now, all of our labor will finally pay off. So what do you think about cryptozoology? Let us know in the comments section and subscribe to our channel if you want to watch more amazing and informative videos like this. Thanks for watching.